Well, moving on to the next stage. Got the transaxle out of here. I'm going to clean it up. Got the clutch pulled out. Gonna clean it up. This is what it looked like fresh out of the car. It's pretty clean. Dry. It's a dual clutch. So it's going to get shipped away with the transaxle. Along with the shifter and the cables. It's all getting put in that box. I think I'm going to pull the motor out and get serious about getting the pulley setup done. It's too hard to do it in the car, so I'll get it out here and do it out here on the bench, on the stand. I got that pulley, and the this belt is going to be out a little bit further than I wanted. You can see where the inside belt runs. The outside belt's going to run a little bit off of this water pump here. So who knows, I may have to change the water pump styles and get the short one, the Corvette one. I can't remember why I didn't use that, because it didn't fit over there by the heater. I can't remember. I think I still even have one. I think I still have one over in one of them boxes. So that's one of the things I really got to get figured out. And if I have to pull that out too far, that means I probably need more clearance for my waterfall, which means I probably got to cut some of that apart and redo some more of that. We'll see. Anyway, that's why I got to take that out and get that part nailed down. So it's going to take a little while. Unhook everything, get the hatch out of the way. Take that blower back off of there and pull the motor out. Well, there we go. Can't believe it. Reverting back to just a bare block basically. Still got to take the water pump off of there. The water pump comes off and all the water lines completely has to come off. And then the AC pump comes loose and just stays right there. I'll leave it hooked up, charged, and then it'll be ready to pluck out of there. Take the hatch out. I got a couple little radiators and fans and a pump. For the air to water to air system. And I've got a couple little odds and ends here. Some of it's not right, like wire connectors. Somebody commented about the Autovox rearview mirror. I couldn't comment back for some reason, but anyway, I got one of those. I'm going to put that rearview mirror in. It's going to be a pretty nice little system. So yeah, I'm going to pull that motor out and get more serious about lining up all the belts. So the motor's getting ready to come on out. Haven't worked on this for a little bit. Camping and working on some other stuff. So it's ready to come out. Everything's unhooked. The AC stays hooked up to the lines. I just got it unbolted from the motor, and it'll just stay right there. It's all loose. Hey, dogs. Settle down. Don't break something. Been collecting other parts. I got a different water pump, which this pulley doesn't stick up so high, but then that's why I use this one, because the water pump, or the outlet there, fit within the frame. So if I end up having to use this water pump, which I probably will, I'll have to notch the frame inside here, which is right in this area. And it's one of them things, if I have to do it, I have to do it. I'm not sure if I've shown, but here's the balancer, the LSA balancer. It's got the third row. We'll see if that works. I got different plugs, which they say I need. It's recommended in the directions. I got a bunch of directions, which is set up to put in a Camaro. Nothing applies to my setup, but a couple of things give me some tips. Reading through there. Anyway. She's ready to come out. Okay, there we go. Barely enough room, but there is room. So, motor's out. Time to get serious about setting up the pulleys. There's the balancer for the LSA, which has the third row for the belt for the supercharger. And supposedly the other two are the same spot here, which means I'll be able to run the AC still without changing anything here, which is crucial because there isn't any room from where that AC goes. There's already a relief spot built into it. I got some silicone smeared on there, but it's got nothing to do with the relief right there. And then I'll run a single belt to the alternator with this adjuster here, this tensioner, which is from a VW, off of this pulley location. So up over here, squished in between here, up and around, and that's enough of a tension to draw tight on my alternator. You know, and then I have my water pump here. And there's always a question, okay, well, how's the water pump going to get driven? Well, I could bring this same belt up here. And then a separate belt off of the supercharger. Let's see, let me try a different zoom here. There we go. And blah, blah, blah. It's kind of racking my brain. I got another option for a water pump, and I like this option here. This is for a truck. This is the one I got here. This is for a Corvette. This must be for a Camaro or something. And the reason we use this one on the GTM is not because of the spacing here, because you can see where the belt rides is way up tight. Out here is all for nothing. But the reason is because this is down toward the block, and it fits inside the frame barely. When you put the thermostat on here, this barely clears. Compared to this one, which is lower profile, but it's taller, quite a bit taller right here, and it don't fit without redoing the frame. So if I was gonna have to use that water pump to get in far enough here to not interfere with this outer belt, then I would have had to modify the frame, because the this inlet right here is sticking out too far, which I can do, and I will do if I have to. So then I get this one here for the truck today, and it's exact same height here to here. Heater hoses come out in the same spot. Thermostat appears to be the same, because this one is not. This one's a different thermostat than this one. And then this one is the one spaced up higher. Now, when I had this in here and I was trying to figure out where the belt would ride, the belt was going to ride, you know, kind of right where this curls over for the supercharger, or just barely miss this one. Now this one appears to be just exactly right where I need it to be. So, you know, if you can eyeball down where this one here starts to curl over, you can see it's right in the middle of where this one is. So this one's looking really good as far as the spacing for the supercharger belt. I won't run, you know, the belt for the alternator up over this. If this supercharger will run the alternator, run this water pump. And then this is the only weird thing that I haven't figured out yet. Is the one for the truck comes out the top here. All the other ones come out right here. And more than likely this won't bother me, I'm hoping. Anyway, we'll find out. I'm about ready to put that all up there. I got to get this dampener off here. And put this other one on. And then I can start getting serious. Let's cut the balancer off. Came off just like it should. I think I've shown the water pump for the truck on here. And took and I bent this over. I actually didn't bend it, but it slid in that tube just a little bit because it was almost touching right there. So I got a hold of it, moved it over. There's enough to put the hose on right there and a clamp, and then I don't think I destroyed this. I think the seal should still be good. And so the pulley looks like it's going to line up pretty good. It's exactly where it needs to be. And it looks like it's going to work out pretty well. You know, when you look at one versus the other, the AC belt's in the same spot. The alternator belt that I'm going to run is going to be in the same location. And then the spacing for this, I think, is all going to work out good. So anyway, I'm about ready to put that on there. So I got the balancer on there from the LSA. It shows the alignment here. Come around the other side. Something like that. It's going to line up pretty good. The only thing I got to do is build a plate right here and have a idler like this right here somewhere, just to hold it out a little bit so I don't run into that on the way down. Almost made it, but it don't. So I have to do that. It'll work. And then you know, this mostly will all the way get wrapped all the way around, and this will get wrapped pretty much all the way around. It's all going to work. And that's the pump from the truck. And then this will come out here. And this will be the same as the other one. I won't have to modify my frame here. I'll put this heater pipe I had going in through here with that 90. And this is the same thermostat, same depth. And the rest of it I've got figured out. AC is good to go. Alternator is good to go. This thing is bolted in its position. Everything's gonna work. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this plate done here. Build a spot for a tension or a pull idler. And I suppose now that I know that's all gonna work, I better start figuring out ordering internals for the motor and start talking to the engine builder. I don't think I want to do it. So I got other stuff to do, and that's something I just don't want to stress out about. Anyway, I'm happy so far that this is working. And one more thing I got to do is figure this out. I guess I could do that when the motor's gone, but I got to figure out a way to make this bypass work, since I had to take this out of the way. Because if I flip this monster throttle body over, then it rubs into the glass. And instead of having to modify the rear gate and the glass and all that, I figured I'll try to swap this out instead. It's either try and find a new spot for this or make a whole new tailgate, lift gate, hatch, cover, whatever you want to call it. That's my tailgate. Alright, man. So that kind of makes me happy. Figure out what's going on with my transaxle. Get this motor out of here. Start finishing up on some of this other stuff I wanted to do. I'm pretty happy how this turned out. Remember, that actuator used to bolt on right here, come around behind, and then hit this from the top up here. And since I had to put this mammoth throttle body on there, and it wouldn't fit on the other way, I had to turn it this way so it wouldn't hit the glass, which means I couldn't put that actuator right here anymore. Anyway, here we go. I added a piece of metal to that bracket, flipped it over, and it used to stop right here on this little set screw, and now it stops off of this bracket. I could shave that off. I'm just going to leave it because it's nice anodized black. I'll just leave it there. If I shave it off, it's going to be one spot of shiny aluminum. So anyways, I use that as a backstop, and then I cut the shaft apart, added a piece of rod, changed the bracket here so it ties into this standoff mount. And it's going to look pretty good. Then I'll just run my line over to here. I gotta fix this thing. It was busted off in shipping. Anyway. It works pretty good. I like it. Got my water pump ready to roll. This little add-on so I could fit my heater hose. I think I'm going to get back on this thing again. Do a little tear down on the motor. It's going to be rebuilt with the forged bottom end. Everything's looking good so far that I took apart. I don't really see any damage, nor was I really expecting any. Plugs all look good. Cylinders look good. So, I'll continue the teardown. I'm going to take it to the machine shop and have them check the cylinders and make sure we don't need to bore it out before I order the parts. This assembly all went good. Hey, leave that alone. All went good, and normal wear. The bearings all look good. The coating is just kind of wore off of it, but there isn't any nasty marks or anything. Get back, dog. And none of that stuff I'm going to use right there. Just the top end. I'm going to use the same cam. Plugs all look good. Burning even. I'm going to check. That line right there means something. Timing was a little higher, a little low. You know, it needs to kind of be right there in the middle of that arc, I think. And I'm going to go read one of these plugs. But they're all burning way down low down here. So, on to the next phase.